The Patriot Act is described as the largest assault on human rights and civil liberties in American history. After the only foreign attack on U.S. soil since World War II, the Patriot Act appeared, as if written overnight, and was rammed into approval.
The powers this document awards the executive branch hobble the judiciary and Congress and leave you as unprotected as any individual ever was in the USSR. Only one congressional representative voted no on this act. David Cole talks to Representative Bernie Sanders about our eroding rights.
I voted against the USA Patriot Act way back in 2001 because I thought it went much too far in denying Americans our constitutional rights and continue to be very, very concerned about many aspects of it. Now, the area that I have been focusing on over the last number of years has to do with Section 215, which is only one of the onerous provisions, I should add. And what that provision is about in English, not legalese, is simply this. The FBI can walk into a secret, what we call a FISA court, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court, and tell a judge, we are doing an investigation on international terrorism. Well, guess what? The FBI does a lot of investigations on international terrorism. The judge, therefore, despite what the Justice Department may say, has no option but to saying, okay, we are giving you permission that you have requested to go into a library, into a bookstore, and get the reading records of the individual you want. And by the way, that individual will never know about that. The thrust of the problem is the FBI does not have to give an explanation, does not have to justify why they think that individual may be engaged in terrorist activity. In my view, if the government has a case and can make a case to an independent judiciary that somebody is involved in terrorist activity, or they think that person is, and they think those reading records can be of assistance, that's one thing. But to simply say, hey, you can walk in to any library, any bookstore, and get somebody's reading records without having any documentation, any evidence, is clearly, in my view, unconstitutional and a real threat to the freedom of thought that this country is about.
The question is, how do we respond when our government, in response to the attacks of 9/11, takes these extreme measures? And I think we do so by insisting on the importance of basic principles of human decency, of human rights, principles that apply to all human beings, rights like the right of free speech, the right to a fair trial, the right not to be locked up arbitrarily, the right not to be snooped on without some basis.
We can do that. We can do it in a way so that the average American continues to be free, expresses his or her point of view without fear, reads the kinds of books that he or she wants to without thinking that the government is looking over one's shoulder, knows that the FBI is not going to be coming into your house because you wrote a letter to the editor critical of the president, and coming into your house, by the way, under Section 213 without you ever knowing about it, knowing that your medical records are safe, knowing that you are continuing to enjoy what the Bill of Rights in this country gives us. The good news out there is that we are seeing a lot of ordinary people beginning to come stand up and step up to the plate and say, wait a second, this is not right.
Yeah, I think one of the most hopeful signs in terms of people standing up for their rights in the wake of September 11th has been the movement across the country organized by the Bill of Rights Defense Committee with help of the ACLU to get local towns, cities, counties, states to pass resolutions condemning the civil liberties abuses of the Patriot Act, and not only of the Patriot Act, but of the Bush administration in the war on terror. People care about security, but they also care about principles like free speech, free association, due process, and privacy.
We're all concerned about terrorism, but you're not going to rip up the Constitution of the United States. Protect the American people. Have strong law enforcement, but don't destroy the Constitution and the freedoms the people in this country have fought and died for.